Hello, welcome, Marlene here. For today's cookie project, we're working on some hearts for Valentine's Day. At the beginning of this tutorial, I'm going to briefly talk about icing consistency, but I really recommend if you're a beginner that you watch my longer kind of version for that video, and then I'm going to talk about tools, and then we're going to jump into the actual decorating. So let's get started. Icing consistency is a tough one to explain here in a video. But basically what you need is icing that is runny enough that when you apply it to the cookie, that once you stop touching it, gravity will take over, pulling it flat, giving it that porcelain surface. Now if I just shake my little bowl here like you would with your cookie, you can see that it's smoothing. If it's too runny, well, a couple of things will happen. It could easily fall off your cookie and it's going to get away from you. And the other thing, once it dries, it will be completely flat on your cookie. You're not going to have any kind of thickness. It's just going to look like a varnish on the surface of the cookie. So it's a dance, you know, you're adding the water a little bit at a time so that you get it the right consistency to go on your cookie. If it's too thick, by the time you get finished, it's already crusting. And it's going to be tough to add secondary lines and such. So probably if you're a beginner, runnier is better, especially since we have a perimeter, keeping it on the cookie. But it's practice, you know, you're going to have to play with it and then you'll figure out what the good consistency is for you. But usually they say 20 seconds. So by the time you mix and you can count 20 seconds and the surface is smooth, that's the good consistency. So let's just take a quick look at supplies. A cookie cutter. Ideally, you'd have a heart-shaped cookie cutter, but you could certainly make kind of pink designs on a round cookie that you could make easily with like a cup or a glass. So heart-shaped cookie cutter. If you don't want to buy a bunch of food color, I suggest you not buy red. You get like a dark pink. And so the dark pink, you can get like a super dark pink and then make a light pink. Red does not make a nice light pink. And then white icing, well, you don't have to add anything to. And then sprinkles. These are nonpareil little balls here. These are Valentine set. You can get them just pink, just red, or just white. And the sanding sugar. This is decorative sugar and it comes in so many different colors. And it's good if you can coordinate your sanding sugar with your icing color. And then a needle tool is just a fancy toothpick. So if you don't have that, just use a toothpick. And that's pretty much all you need. Oh, the piping bags. These are tipless bags. I've not seen them in store. You have to usually order these online. The alternative is a Ziploc bag. But the Ziploc, when you squeeze, if you aren't careful, you might rupture it. So it's up to you if you want to invest in some actual piping bags. They can be pricey. I find the little small kits are a little bit ridiculous in my opinion. I think they're like at the bulk store. You can buy them like just a few at a time. So basically these are your supplies. So let's get decorating. By far the hardest part of cookie decorating is outlining piping. And so the trick, if you want to hide your lines, if you don't like how they look, if you're a perfectionist, so you pipe. Now I've practiced a lot, so my lines are pretty straight. So once you're done, okay, you're going to take your cookie and you're going to dip it in some, these are called nonpareil. They're not called sprinkles. Sprinkles are like rice. These are little spheres. They're little circles. And you see, you just gently dunk in there to adhere that to your icing, to your wet icing. Or I'm just gently dunking so I don't completely squish my line. And once I have it everywhere, we're going to flip it over and look at it. And now with the nonpareil on, I can actually come in and touch the edge, you see, and just push it over back how I want it. And if it's too much inside, you can take a little toothpick or whatever and move it this way. And you can shape your line. And this will hold your icing in. and we've just kind of made the icing perfect at the edge. If you don't really like the nonpareil, I'm going to show you now with sanding sugar. Sanding sugar is, it's not regular just like sugar that you use to make your cookies. It's bigger granules and it makes them kind of sparkly, and you can get them in all kinds of colors. And I know there's videos like to make your own and all that. It's not worth the trouble. You can get them at bulk stores for really not a lot. This is not an expensive product, not worth the hassle of making this yourself. Now here's my sprinkles, or my sanding sugar I should say. I'm doing the same thing as I did with the nonpareil. I'm dunking my cookie in there, but I don't want to squish my line. I'm just gently dunking. And again, you can kind of come in now and touch it. Since it's coated, it's not sticky anymore, and you can shape it the way that you want. And now you have an almost perfect edge, and when we come in and flood, the icing won't fall off. This stops the icing from falling off the cookie. And so my perimeter here has had time to dry, and so when I come in and add the icing inside, the icing's not going to fall off, and because it's dry I can pick it up and I don't have to worry. If you take your icing to the edge and you're a beginner and you pick it up, you're going to stick your fingers in it and everything. This gives you like a safe spot to grab them. And you see we have a nice kind of finish. And if it, let's say, was coming in here, well, with the secondary icing here, I could kind of like just cover up the line and make it a little bit more perfect. So we're going to start with this one here, and we're going to do a very basic design. Royal icing, it's important when you're using different colors and you're doing wet on wet that the icing is the same consistency, because if this is runnier than the white, let's say, well, when it dries it will be concave, it will make a dent in the finish. So you're better to just get your consistency right with your white icing and then portion out in bowls the secondary colors so that everything is the same consistency and it'll just look better on the finished product. I'm working with the first color I'm going to do is white. I'm just going to fill the whole cookie with this white icing. And you can, if you are using these tipless bags, you just flatten it out and then you can trim it, and you're better to cut smaller than bigger and then go back and recut so that you don't cut a giant hole and then you can't obviously make it smaller. And now I'm just getting really against my sprinkles here so that it creates a nice seam. You don't want to squeeze like crazy and have it spill over, so just go slow until you get your groove, and you've done a few, you'll be able to kind of go faster until you figure it out. I suggest less is more. So we're just filling in the cookie. You see this little hole right there? Well, until the icing is touching, that won't heal. You have to make sure that it connects. So you just give it a nudge with the piping bag or the tip that you have, and you can just kind of have it connect, fill in all the holes. You don't want to add too much icing or else it'll spill over, especially since we're adding another color. Now I'm just going to shake it a little bit, and now I'm grabbing the darkest pink, and you can do whatever color. I'm just showing you some ideas here. And now I've got a small hole, and I'm just right up the middle here. I'm just adding some dots and then staggering on the next one, you see? And you just line yourself up looking at the previous row to know where to go. And polka dots, it's just fun to see it kind of melt into the base color and create this cool porcelain finish. And you can rotate the cookie just so that it's easier to work. and just try to line yourself up like the previous line, and just take your time. A small hole is better in this case, and we're just doing polka dots all over. We're not dragging or anything in this one. This is just nice as polka dots. It doesn't have to be covered in hearts. It is a heart cookie after all. I remember the first time I saw a polka dot cookie, I was just amazed at how smooth the surface was. How did they do that? Well, this is it. And you can see it's all healing. And if it isn't healing like you want, you just shake it like this. And there we have a pretty polka dot cookie, and you can see the surface. You see that? The light hitting on it. It's all smooth, so we're going to let that dry, and this is it. We're doing a polka dots. And now I'm going to fill this one in white. There, I'm just nudging it over so that it connects to the sanding sugar. Filling in the gaps. I'm not squeezing icing, I'm just kind of moving the icing around so that it connects to the perimeter. And now it's all smoothed out, well, pretty smoothed out. And I'm taking the light pink and I'm just cutting a small hole. Alright, and now here I'm following kind of the edge here, and I'm spacing my lines all the same, like that. Okay, and now I'm rotating and I'm creating squares. Trying to have the spaces be the same. Steady your hand with the other. There. And now I'm taking the darker, and right at the corners I'm adding a dot of the darker pink. Try to get them the same size, and if it's not, you can go back and just press in there and make them bigger till they're the size you want. There. This one here I went a little crazy, but I'm gonna just leave it. And now here I'm gonna pull from the top here down, and this creates a little heart. So in the polka dot you pull, and this creates a heart. You want to wipe the toothpick or your needle in between drags so that it's clean and you're not going to get pink where you don't want it. And you can see when the icing starts to dry that it doesn't heal as well. So you do have to kind of work somewhat quickly. We're going to shake the cookie and we should be fine. And let's pick it up. Let's turn it around so you can see those hearts. And I'm just going to gently kind of tap those little peaks and they should heal away. And there. For this one here, I'm just going to fill the whole thing in the same pink as kind of the perimeter. Create a pink cookie. It's not an exact match, but close enough. I don't like to use red. I lean more towards the pink. The red food color, even if it says no taste, it has a yucky taste. And I try to avoid it also. If you Google toxicity of red food color, ew. I don't think pink is much better, but in my mind it's less intense. So I just fill in this whole cookie, and like before, we're gonna go and kind of smush the icing around so that all the gaps are filled. A shake, shake, shake. And now I'm going to work my way around this cookie, putting some pretty big dots all around. And here, I'm starting here and I'm going to go through all these dots now. So I'm pulling right down the center of all these dots. This side now. And they're going to meet here. And a shake. Let's pull the little points so that they meet. And if you want, once this is done, you can come in with the lighter pink and just add some little polka dots around that little kind of wreath. Just randomly. And there we have the heart. Now I'm going to just fill this whole thing in a light pink. The sequence of colors doesn't matter. You could introduce another color if you want. I think like a blue would be really pretty if you want to break up all this pink. But if you don't decorate a lot, you know, then it's another bottle of food color you have to get. And now I'm going to do dots down like that, staggered. I'm leaving a bigger gap in between. I'm going to put one here. And I'm going to just turn so I can work here. And I'm just pulling right dead center, creating a row of hearts like that here. Try to go straight. I shouldn't have had that cup of coffee. I'm shaking like crazy. Okay, now that I have my rows of hearts, I'm taking my white icing and I'm just doing a line in between like that. The white color brightens it up, and the lines also break up the heart design. And at the ends there, I'm getting kind of like lumps, like thicker lines. You can come in and kind of just fix that. A little shake. And there are our pretty heart cookies. I'm going to fill the cookie with white here on the edge. So let's create like a thickness all around. We're drawing a heart in the middle. There. Okay. And now in the middle of that, I'm and the other pink. white for the rest. I'm just going to pull the shape down. Let's spread the icing in here. And I'm just going to spread this pink like that. It's the same color here, so like that. And now I'm going to create little hearts here. Right here it didn't work, so I'm just adding the darker pink and a darker pink heart here, and we're going to pull those. So first you got to fill the whole cookie here. I'm connecting to my sprinkles and then just filling in the other cookie. And don't fill too much because you do add quite a bit of colors. You add more icing with the other colors, and so you're going to potentially get your cookie to spill over. So you don't want that. So like I said before, just smush it around so that it levels, but don't add too much. Done. And now I'm taking the white, doesn't matter, just you need at least, I'd say, 2 colors. And I'm just going to do lines across the surface of the cookie like that. And I'm taking my light pink now. Don't worry about the bottom, since you're dragging, it'll fill that up as you pull the icing. And you can see my pink line is not the same width as the white. Again, not a problem, you'll see. And I'm going to pull down right here, down the middle, and I'm pulling right in the center here and up here. And I'm not going straight, I'm following kind of like the shape of this heart. The heart is kind of rounded, so I'm just following the shape of the heart. And now I'm shaking to really like take out those strokes out of the cookie. And I like following the shape of the heart. Usually I've seen them, they're like, you're going really straight. And this just suits the shape a bit more. You see it kind of creates points here at the bottom. I'm going to fill this cookie in the light pink. And we're going to do something a bit different on this one. Fill it in and just kind of swirl. All right, so we're good. We've got the surface filled. And now I'm taking the dark pink and I'm creating some dots. I'm gonna go down here. And now I'm grabbing the white, and right in the middle of those hearts, of those circles, right here in the middle, I'm just dropping in white icing in the middle of the pink. And you can see it's giving me a perimeter, a dark pink perimeter around those white lines. And now when I pull through, I'm getting 2 tones, you see? And I'm just going to add some little dots here. And I'm going to pull those dots. I'm just going to kind of pull them randomly. Not necessarily to create hearts, more like just some little added details. And that's it. I'm just doing half. Final cookies in white here. And now I'm just adding some pink big dots all over, and then just a little bit of dark pink to that dot. And now we're going to come in with the needle and we're going to swirl this up. And now let's create some hearts that are going all which ways. And I'm taking my two colors and I'm just going to add some polka dots all over. And now with the light, and that's it. A shake to get those dots leveled. So much for watching. If you want to watch that icing cookie tutorial, you'll find the link in the description box, as well as the cookie canvas. I'll have that link as well. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you next time.